As you explore and dig deeper into the mysteries of the faith, the final realities come to full view. The Catholic Church has always taught on a subject known as the eschaton. That's a Greek word referring to the four last things. What are the four last things? Death, judgment, heaven, and hell. In short, when it's all said and done, bottom line, we will all die, be judged, and enter into heaven or hell forever. So, since every human being in the history of the world who has ever lived will be in one or the other, it pretty much stands to reason that either heaven or hell will have more occupants, so to speak. Estimates are, as of now, that roughly 11 billion people have lived on Earth at one time or another, including now. And unless the world ends right this minute, that number will increase. So, how many will be in heaven and how many in hell? It's not a new question. Some of the greatest saints in the church have chimed in on this, and what they have to say is, well, sobering. Here's a sample. Quote, "The greater part of men choose to be damned rather than to love Almighty God." That from St. Alphonsus Maria Liguori, who is a doctor of the church. Quote, "On the threshing floor, few are the grains carried into the barns, but high are the piles of chaff burned with fire." Pope St. Gregory the Great, father and doctor of the church. Quote, "It is certain that few are saved." St. Augustine, father and doctor of the church. Quote, "Out of 100,000 sinners who continue in sin until death, scarcely one will be saved." That from St. Jerome, who translated the Bible into Latin, a father and doctor of the church. What I'm about to tell you is very terrible, yet I will not conceal it from you. Out of this thickly populated city with its thousands of inhabitants, not 100 people will be saved. I even doubt whether there will be as many as that. That from St. John Chrysostom, father and doctor of the church. And on a special note to the clergy, quote, "I do not speak rashly, but as I feel and think, I do not think that many priests are saved, but that those who perish are far more numerous." Again, St. John Chrysostom. Quote, "Christ's flock is called little in comparison with the greater number of the reprobates." St. Bede the Venerable, father and doctor of the church. "The greater part of men will set no value on the blood of Christ and will go on offending him." End quote. St. Isidore of Seville, father and doctor of the church. Quote, "How few the elect are may be understood from the multitude being cast out." That from St. Hilary of Poitiers, father and doctor of the church. Quote, "The majority of men shall not see God, excepting those who live justly, purified by righteousness, and by every other virtue." That from St. Justin the Martyr. Quote, "There are a select few who are saved." That from the angelic doctor himself, St. Thomas Aquinas. And not to belabor a point, but we hear this so infrequently, if ever at all, from the very people, the bishops and priests, whose solemn duty is to tell us this, that we feel we indeed need to labor over this point. So, one final quote. "The number of the elect is so small that were we to know how small it is, we would faint away with grief, one here and there, scattered up and down the world." That from St. Louis-Marie de Montfort. This isn't meant to frighten or terrify people, it's meant to wake us up so we can avoid hell. If most people go to hell, the vast majority of people go to hell, which seems to be the consensus among the greatest minds of the church, then they perish because they choose to. Our blessed Lord established the Catholic Church as the ark to save whoever would come into it before their time runs out. Either we believe this or we don't. Death, judgment, heaven, hell. We can't choose the first two, but the second two are entirely up to us. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.